Welcome to the Weather Classroom. Today we're going to focus on wind chill. It's something we talk a lot about here on the Weather Channel during the winter months. Sometimes during the summer, the combination of heat and humidity gets quite uncomfortable for most folks, and that's when the term heat index becomes a prominent term. All right, let's get started. And first, we're going on into the concept of wind chill. Now, if you're outside on a day when the air temperature is 45 degrees and the wind is blowing just barely, let's say, for this purpose, it's blowing at 5 miles per hour. Then we say what we have is a wind chill of about 43 degrees. The air temperature is 45. It feels perhaps just a tad cooler. What's happening is as the air continuously pushes across the body's surface, it takes the body's heat, which is radiated right around the immediate surface of the body, and kind of pushes it away. Now what happens if we start to increase the wind speed? Now we have a wind of 25 miles per hour. Still, the air temperature is the same, 45 miles per hour, but the wind is 25 miles per hour. It's blowing a lot stronger. This time, the body's heat does not have much chance at all to hover right near the actual surface of your body. It is continually being ripped away by the ventilation supplied by the strong wind. So now you feel a lot colder. So we say we have a wind chill value of 23 degrees. Here's a chart that we use a lot as we go into the winter season. Now, when the wind chill gets down to 5 to 10, it feels unpleasant for most folks. Again, there is some variation depending on your body type and how used you may be to certain climatic zones. 25 to 65 below zero frostbite is likely. When it gets below that, on average, exposed skin will freeze in 30 seconds or less. Let's check in with additional information now.
Wind chill is what makes the weather bone-chilling cold. It is caused by wind blowing the warm air molecules away from your body and making you feel colder. The wind chill is even worse when you're wet because the evaporation of moisture takes heat energy away from your body. The wind chill factor is a big concern during the winter months. Winter is the coldest season because the Earth's axis is tilted away from the sun in the northern hemisphere. During this season, temperatures are prone to be near freezing at times, accompanied by precipitation and winds. On a cold, windy winter day, the wind chill can be extremely low. On such a day, the stronger the wind blows, the lower the wind chill factor. Protection against the wind and the cold is necessary for health and comfort. Lisa Spencer, The Weather Channel.
Again, as Declan was pointing out, talking about the wind chill, it's actually a very complicated equation that determines how much of that heat is driven away from your body by the amount of cold as well as the wind. It's all pretty much on a table, considering the actual temperature and the wind speed. And again, it's kind of difficult to see, but I do want to point out when the temperature drops down to around zero and the wind's coming up to about 40 miles an hour, that puts a wind chill of 52 below. As Declan pointed out earlier, that combination can be deadly, as frostbite can be likely, and even lower wind chill values can drop it on down to the possibility of frostbite within 30 seconds. So some sensible tips to use: avoid undue exposure when you're out in the cold weather. Wear layered clothing. Actually, that serves better to trap some of the body heat in more than just one big bulky parka out there. Avoid smoking and alcoholic beverages. It has a tendency to clog your body's system to keep it regulated. Eat food that is high in protein. Again, this is turned over by your body into a better source of heat, and drink plenty of hot liquids. Also, if you're a jogger, go ahead and do it, but when it gets bitterly cold, make sure you do bundle up and don't overexert yourself. Make sure you protect your hands and feet and check on the elderly. While we're in the winter mood, let's check on a storm that passes through the Northeast in wintertime. It's called Alberta Clipper.
This snow in Pittsburgh was caused by a storm system known as an Alberta Clipper. Many times during the winter, a large upper-level low-pressure area builds over Canada's Hudson Bay. The air rotates around that low in a counterclockwise direction. This causes the storm track to slide from western Canada down across the northern United States. The systems over Alberta or thereabouts are forced to move quickly along that storm track by the jet stream, hence the name Alberta Clipper. The Alberta Clippers are typically accompanied by snow and followed by a shot of cold air. Given the quick movement, snow accumulations are not too large. However, once in a while, they slow down and intensify, blasting the coast of the northeastern U.S. with heavy snow and strong winds. Jeanetta Jones, The Weather Channel.
Okay, now we've jumped into the summer season. These are water molecules. On this day, 85-degree air temperature, the relative humidity, 20%. Not much moisture in the air. It's a dry day, so we have a heat index of 82 degrees. Now, different story. Same temperature, 85, but this time the relative humidity is 70%. Lots of moisture. It's a humid, it's a sticky, it's a muggy afternoon. Now we say that the heat index, or the apparent temperature, 91. It's 85, but it feels like it's in the 90s. The reason? The body cools itself by perspiration. However, the more moisture in the air, the less the ability of your body to cool itself significantly. On a humid day, you know how you sweat much quicker than you would on a dry day, other factors being equal. And with all the moisture in the air, it is just tough for your body's engine, your heart, to kind of cool things down as we go into the late afternoon with lots of heat and humidity. Here's a look at a relative humidity chart comparing the air temperature, and you notice as you go up on the temperature scale and also you increase the relative humidity, then the heat index gets way up there, and if it gets above 105 degrees, things can get dangerous. Here's Jeanetta Jones.
To most, relative humidity is defined in terms of how comfortable or uncomfortable it feels outside. Relative is the key word here. As the phrase suggests, it relates the actual water vapor present to that which could be present at a given temperature. It's expressed in percent. A temperature of 80 degrees with 96% relative humidity means the air is holding 96% of its moisture capacity at that temperature. So why doesn't 96% humidity in the winter feel as unpleasant as in the summer? Because temperature largely determines the amount of water vapor air can hold. Warm air can hold more water vapor than cold air. When it's cold, air molecules are huddled close together. There's no room for moisture to be absorbed into the atmosphere. When the air temperature is warm, molecules are spaced farther apart and moisture is easily absorbed. The more saturated warm air is, the more uncomfortable you feel. That's because body sweat isn't easily evaporated on damp days. Your body's ability to cool itself is being inhibited by the weather. Jeanetta Jones, The Weather Channel.
Again, as Declan was pointing out, it's very important, is just like it is with the wind chill, is with the amount of heat and humidity building up. So we have some safety tips for that as well. Get into some air conditioning during those hot summer sticky days. Don't overexpose yourself to the sun. Notice these are similar to the wind chill. Using some common sense. Check on the elderly. Make sure you take care of your pets. Slow down. Reduce your level of activity. Wear lightweight, light-colored clothing. And make sure your intake of fluid is increased. You want to know the answer? What is the heat index? Stick around. Here it comes. Historical perspective, we had Groundhog Day this past week. Let's see what the rodent said.
The most famous of the four-pod prognosticators, Punxsutawney Phil, was removed from his burrow at about 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. The way it's supposed to work, if Phil sees his shadow, he runs back in and there are 6 more weeks of winter. If he doesn't see his shadow, spring is supposed to be just around the corner. But even though it was overcast and snowy, Phil had bad news.
I'm sorry, I have to say, on this Groundhog Day, as I looked around, my shadow I found.
6 more weeks of winter. But of course, Phil wasn't the only critter caster to come out on this day. Down near Stone Mountain, Georgia, there's General Beauregard Lee. General Lee supposedly goes by the same rules as Punxsutawney Phil, but even though there wasn't a cloud in the Georgia sky, Lee says spring is right around the corner.
Well, whether it be spring, summer, winter, or fall, we got it covered for you on our Weather Channel classroom. Today's topic, we've talked about wind chill and heat index, the effects of heat and also extreme cold and what that can have an effect on you. So stay with the Weather Channel classroom for the very latest. If you want to know more about wind chill and heat index, refer to Chapter 3 in your Weather Channel classroom book.